Some say it's luck. I believe it's God's grace. 12 accidents drivers were blessed enough to survive. Number 12. TheGuardian.com said the following on this accident. Felipe Massa was airlifted to a Budapest hospital with a skull fracture as a result of an injury received during qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix. The Brazilian was knocked unconscious when a spring, which had become detached from the rear suspension of Barrichello's Brawn, struck Massa on the head as he reached 175 miles per hour on one of the fastest sections of the Hungaroring. Number 11. Gerhard Berger, San Marino Grand Prix 1989. Wikipedia says the following. On lap 4, 5th place Gerhard Berger's Ferrari speared off the track at the fast Tamburello corner due to a mechanical failure. Berger hit the wall at an estimated 180 miles an hour, and when his car came to a rest, it was covered in fuel and it immediately burst into flames. 3 fire marshals arrived on foot 16 seconds after impact, and the fire was put out 10 seconds later. The fuel had also burned up in the inferno. The race was red flagged and Berger escaped with broken ribs and second-degree burns. Number 10. Mark Webber, European Grand Prix 2010. In the Aussie's own words, going down the back straight I was in high key, Kovalainen's slipstream, he said, and he moved a bit to the left. I thought, okay, he's letting me go, but 50 meters after that he went to the right. Fair enough, he was entitled to defend aggressively. So I just sort of sat there. I thought about trying around the outside, but he covered that move, so I started to look again to the right. That's when he braked, and I just thought, effing hell. The landing wasn't too bad, with the car having righted itself, Webber said, but the subsequent impact with the tyre wall was pretty hefty. I was lucky though, because there was a fair amount of runoff area. 9. Michael Schumacher, Australia 2001. Qualifying in Australia 2001, quoting Wikipedia again. Michael Schumacher did not see waved yellow flags in turn 5 to alert drivers to Heidfeld. He accelerated and saw the yellow flags in the braking area for turn 6. Schumacher lost control of the rear of the car on oil laid on the approach to the right-hand turn 6 while braking. He spun backwards after hitting the inside curb and speared into the gravel trap at 120 miles or 190 kilometers an hour. The wheels dug into a ridge in the gravel on the outside of the turn and the Ferrari lifted airborne. Schumacher somersaulted and barrel rolled twice before landing upright against the tyre barrier. He was unhurt. Amazing. 8. Damoneel Portugal 94. During free practice, Hill collided with Irvine's Jordan after Irvine spun and he was rolled over by the impact. Hill ended up buried almost to his head into the gravel. He was unhurt and went on to win this race. Number 7. Marcus Ericsson, Italy 2018. Crash.net stated it as follows. Under braking for turn 1 at the end of the main straight, Ericsson's Sauber C37 speared into a barrier on the left-hand side of the circuit before his car entered a series of rolls, flipping over at least 3 times before coming to a rest. Ericsson was unhurt, once again showing just how amazing the safety of the new Formula 1 cars are. 6. Fernando Alonso, Australia 2016. F1.com put it best, saying, Alonso clipped the rear of Gutierrez's Haas as the pair approached turn 3 on lap 18, pitching his McLaren into the wall and then into an airborne barrel roll across the gravel trap. The Spaniard was able to clamber out with Gutierrez immediately running over to check if the double world champion was okay. We both try to fight, and obviously sometimes we forget we are at 300 km an hour and every little crash can become much bigger, Alonso reflected. 5. Mika Hakkinen, Australia 1995. Foxsports.com had an anniversary special 20 years later and reported the following. I remember sitting in the car and trying to move my hands, but I couldn't. Hakkinen recalls, I tried again and again, so I knew that what had happened was bad. Luckily for Hakkinen, the Adelaide circuit was well supported by numerous experienced doctors who were tending to the McLaren driver within a single minute. Mika couldn't move, he wasn't breathing or communicating in any way with us, said Jerome Cockings, an intensive care specialist, but he was alive. 4. Rubens Barrichello, San Marino, 1994. The same race that took Senna and Ratzenberger almost took Rubens in practice. Wikipedia puts it as follows. On Friday 29 April, during first qualifying session, Barrichello, a driver for Jordan, hit a curb at the Variante Bassa corner at 225 km or 140 miles an hour, launching him into the air. He hit the top of the tyre barrier, was knocked unconscious by an impact measured at 95 Gs. Barrichello's car rolled several times after landing before coming to a rest upside down. Medical teams treated him at the crash site. He was taken to the circuit's medical center before being transferred to Maggiore Hospital in Bologna by helicopter for tests and observation. Barrichello suffered a sprained wrist and broken nose. Barrichello's tongue blocked his airway during the crash, and emergency work done by the FIA doctor Sid Watkins saved his life. Number 3. Martin Donnelly, Portugal 1990, and this is amazing. Racefans.net said the following. When Martin Donnelly's Lotus 102 speared off into the barrier at 140 miles an hour, it exploded into pieces. The chassis tore in two and Donnelly was thrown across the track with his seat still strapped to his back. Amazing. Donnelly's injuries were grave. X-rays showed he had bruising on his lungs and brain. The impact was so violent it cracked his crash helmet. He also had severe breaks to both legs and lost a lot of blood. Number 2, Romain Grosjean, Bahrain 2020. We all saw it. Netflix had a good go with it, and Formula1.com had an interview with a man who said his first thought was to wait, but when he saw the fire, he knew he had to find a way out himself. But as he tried, he got stuck. I tried to go up a bit more on the right, it doesn't work. Go on the left, doesn't work. So I sit back down and thought about Niki Lauda, his accident. Thought I couldn't end like this. It couldn't be my last race. It couldn't finish like this. No way. So I try again, he said. Then there's the less pleasant moment when my body starts to relax. I'm in peace with myself and I'm going to die. Thank God he didn't die. He made a full recovery and is now racing in IndyCar. Number 1, Niki Lauda, Nürburgring 1976. In an interview with BBC Radio 5 Live, Lauda said, "There were basically 2 or 3 drivers trying to get me out of the car. One was Arturo Mezzario, the Italian guy, who also had to stop there at the scene because I blocked the road, and he really came into the car himself and triggered my seatbelt loose. He then pulled me out. It was unbelievable how he could do that, and I met him afterwards and I said, 'How could you do it?' He said, 'Honestly, I don't know, but to open your seatbelt was so difficult because you were pushing so hard against it, and when it was open I got you out of the car like a feather.' As Lauda was wearing a modified helmet, it didn't fit him properly. The foam had compressed and it slid off his head after the accident, leaving his face exposed to the fire. Though Lauda was conscious and able to stand immediately after the accident, he lapsed into a coma. While in hospital, he was given the last rites, but survived. It's a miracle. Lauda returned to Formula 1 and won 2 more world championships in 1977 and 1984. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed our little list of miraculous survivals. Smack that sub button and help our little channel survive too, please. God bless and goodbye.